I know a couple of you here. So I wanted to break out of, that's not my first slide. That's better. What did you learn today? Yeah, you learned a lot today, but when you were a kid and you were in school and you came home and your parents said, what did you learn today? You said, I gotta work on this pacing. Sex? Nothing, you were all right. That's right, you learned nothing. Of course you didn't learn nothing, but it was perception versus intention. Your teachers intended to teach you the things that Sean Buffington said so eloquently, all the skills they thought you needed, but you were perceiving that you learned nothing. So you came out with these acts of defiance. You were not studying, you were skipping class. I know, I did it, and my mother still hates me. All these acts of defiance are just manifestations of not knowing what you were there for. What are you going to school for? So what do? Sean asked. You have to embrace chaos. You've got kids asking the question, what the F am I going to school for? You have to help them ask the right question and say, what do you want to know? Discover talent. So I want to tell a quick story Sir Ken Robinson told during a TED Talk about, this is probably going to go over the slide, but the point is there was a student who was acting out, and rather than sending her to therapy and medicating her, the teacher said, your daughter's not troubled, she's a dancer, send her to dance school. And she went to dance school, where she went to a place where a bunch of other people were just like her. They had to move around to think, and she said, this is what I have to do. And she went on to be a world-known choreographer. You may have seen her work. It's called Cats. This is a quote from my friend Matthew. He said, I walk with a pantheon. You need to know who your mentors are and make them be the people standing next to you. If you're inspired by people, be next to them. There's a quote that says, if you want to hang with rich, or if you want to be rich, hang out with rich folks. If you want to change the world, hang out with people that wear shirts that say changing the world. The point is that whatever you want to be, hang around that. You're not going to absorb textbook information by putting a book on your head, but you might absorb some world-changing behavior by hanging around people that are going to change the world. Break the cycle that Sean was talking about of rather than putting skills on students and just give them opportunities. Failure is good. Failure is not education, but lack of failure is also not education. If all you're doing is succeeding, you're either extremely lucky or you failed a lot before. And that brings me to iteration. Iteration allows you to fail. Fail cheaply, fail quickly, fail early, and learn from your mistakes. That's agile software development. You can apply it to almost anything. Don't be my mom, for the love of God. I love my mother, but she would not let me learn from my mistakes. And because I wouldn't learn from my mistakes, I would constantly make the same mistakes. And it wasn't until I broke out with those acts of defiance that I started making mistakes. There's a saying, let the kid put the fork in the light socket and he probably won't do that again. And if he does, we call that evolution. Be electric. Speaking of sticking a fork in a socket, be electric doesn't mean be electrocuted. It means find the path of least resistance. Like electricity, be lazy. Know the paths, like Google, to find the information you need to know. Not when you need to know it. Know how to get there before you need it. Google's a great example of that. So, some of you know me about this little thing I do called co-working with Jeff, and it kind of kicks ass. And I said I didn't want to talk about co-working today, but I have to. So how do we tie this together and education? And Sean was like, what do we do next? I think the answer is obvious. Co-working provides diversity. We've got a group of people that hang out to do whatever it is that they were doing every single day. And they're doing what they love to do. These are great mentors. And there happens to be a lot of different kinds of them. At Indy Hall, we experience what I like to call accidental learning or accelerating serendipity. There is a conversation being had at any given time about something you don't know an effing thing about. You're going to accidentally learn something. You're going to walk home and go, how do I know Ruby on Rails? I have no idea. That happens every single day. And Indy Hall has always been, for me, a platform to allow people to get up and do whatever they want to do. So what do I think the solution to education is? Students plus co-working. I have a vision, I have a dream, of taking what we have already created at Indy Hall. And Jeff and I have already talked about this. So this is going to be kind of a surprise to him. Not really. So having a place where students can come and work on their projects and know that they're working alongside the pantheon, the people they admire, the people that know, the industry experts that can teach them best are working in the same building. And I work at coworking.edu. By the way, all you need to do to get a .edu is to be accredited. So if anyone knows how to become accredited, I'm very interested. Talk to me after the presentation.